India beyond urban India has grown in terms of aspiration, has grown in terms of their strength. We did an analysis of card payments where we compared the urban India versus the semi-urban India. We found that if we look at the cohort of cardholders who have spending more than 2 lakhs in a year, that number for category B and C cities, which is the semi-urban cities in India, has grown about 4x since 2019.
Category C has very interesting choices in terms of cities that you chose to survey. It has Junagadh, it has Latur, it has Sangli, it also has Howrah, which is a satellite town to Kolkata.
Our report mentions that between 2019 to 2014, the penetration of e-commerce spend has gone from 53% to 73%, meaning that somebody from a Sangli or a Satara has equal access to make e-commerce purchases than somebody in the tier 1 cities. This is a new India, emerging India. When we create new things, new solutions, new products, we need to think much bigger than what we are thinking today.
We have with us today Sushmit Nath, who's the head of Visa Consulting and Analytics, India and South Asia in Visa. And we're talking to him today because Visa has come out with white paper on bridging the gap in payments in India. And they're looking very interestingly at bridging the gap in payments in beyond metros, at tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So Sushmit, right off the bat, can we just can you just talk us through what prompted Visa to undertake this white paper and some of the remarkable things that you're seeing and some of the things that you were surprised with?
Thank you, Prasad. It's great to speak to you. A little bit about myself before we dive right in. So I'm Sushmit. I've been in Visa about 10 years. And across these 10 years, I have helped a lot of clients in the payments ecosystem unlock a lot of value in their credit card and debit card portfolios across different markets like Mexico, Asia Pacific, and now in India. Where this report essentially originated from the fact that we are seeing a democratization of affluence in India over the last few years, right? The India beyond urban India has grown in terms of aspiration, has grown in terms of their strength, and we wanted to look at what does data tell us about that, right? So what we did was we did an analysis of card payments, where we compared the urban India versus the semi-urban India. And we found some very, very interesting nuggets that we would like to share. First and most importantly, we found that if we look at the cohort of cardholders who have spending more than 2 lakhs in a year, that number for category B and C cities, which is the semi-urban cities in India, has grown about 4x since 2019, compared in the period 2019 to 2024, while that has increased only 1.4x in the urban cities. So it just is an indicator of how the shift is happening in India today in terms of where the affluence lies, and with that the whole opportunity of how this emerging cohort, this emerging demographic can be addressed by the ecosystem players, by regulators, and by networks like ourselves, who can create better products, better solutions, and provide better services to this emerging cohort of cardholders and spenders.
Interestingly, Sushmit, when I was going through the report, I saw that category C, and just for my viewers, I want to say that category C has very interesting choices in terms of cities that you chose to survey. It has Junagadh, it has Latur, it has Sangli, it also has something like Howrah, which is a satellite town to Kolkata. So what sort of influenced your choice of cities, or why these cities in particular?
So the reason we wanted to go very detailed when it came to the cities and the urban centers here, right? When we talk about cards, when we talk about credit, the whole narrative is around metros and tier 1 cities, right? But there's this silent emergence of spenders, people with very different choices of what they are spending at, how they are using their cards, emerging from across the country. So we thought it was important to look at those, but specifically important to segregate these as different categories of cities, because again the needs and wants of people in a Sangli is very, very different from an average need and want from a cardholder in Mumbai, for example, right? And why this insight is important, because it will help the financial institutions who are creating the products for and pan-India products, right? To understand, what they need to know to create something that can cater to somebody who is from Sangli. At the same time, continue to drive focus in the tier 1 cities. Hence, we looked at our data and it's all coming from the data, right? So in Visa, we could actually see spends in all of these cities, meaning that there are Visa cards being transacted in all of these cities. And again, as acceptance is growing, as card penetration is going, you will also realize that, now there's a lot of low cost acceptance devices that are now available in these tier 3 plus cities, right? Which has meant that, the card holders, the debit and credit card holders in these cities are also able to use their cards for local spending, as well as the emergence of e-commerce. We saw our report mentions that between 2019 to 2014, the penetration of e-commerce spend has gone from 53% to 73%, meaning that somebody from a Sangli or a Satara has equal access to make e-commerce purchases than somebody in the tier 1 cities, right?
So you spoke of e-commerce penetration. I was also reading as a part of your report that government initiatives and policies like the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana or the Aadhaar initiative or the United Payments Interface, the penetration of UPI across India has helped remarkably in this 4x growth in category C towns. Do you want to speak about some of the insights that you're deriving from those initiatives?
Absolutely. I mean, the role that all these government programs have played, it's very, very significant, especially post-COVID. And it has spurred not only a lot of innovation, but also has increased access significantly. Today, you will see that the e-commerce, the main e-commerce companies deliver to almost 99% of PIN codes in India. That's a remarkable achievement for a country of our size. Significantly, all the policies that the government has come up with, including GST, including Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, it has just created access to a formal system of payments, to formal system of commerce that has again brought more people to the mainstream when it comes to accessing credit, when it comes to accessing payments, right? As you would realize that for somebody to have a credit product in hand, data is very important. What this digital revolution has done, that it has helped generate a lot of data that financial institutions can now use to make better decisions when it comes to underwriting, when it comes to giving new credit or debit products to these customers, right? So this has been a series of initiatives, by the government. Also, we have a very pragmatic regulator in RBI who has ensured that there is enough impetus in the industry, in the ecosystem, to not only create new products and solutions, but at the same time do it in a manner which is safe, secure, and is driving the overall growth story of India.
So basically, you're hoping that this white paper is used by people creating products to serve the new non-metro consumers. And one very interesting insight that I saw from your study was that in the new non-metro consumer segment, only 14% are salaried or are professionals. And there are 45% small and large farmers. There are 28% traders. That to me sort of proved, and that to me sort of said that, farmers, there needs to be a product created for farmers specifically or targeted at MSMEs. What's your take on that?
No, absolutely. What we wanted to highlight was the diversity, right, which exists even in this demography. Now, to take a step back, we are talking about tier 2 plus tier 3 plus cities, which are generally not catered to when it comes to new credit products, in terms of innovation, in terms of solutioning. Now, even within that segment, we are talking about extreme amount of diversity, right, which is very important for somebody who is planning to scale in this space to understand. 14% salaried and professionals, within that also you have a diversity of, affluent customers, entry level customers. For example, Visa recently launched a few affluent credit products, right, with in partnership with the like of HSBC and Taj, with the like of Times, where we are catering to a small proportion of that. But at the same time, we launched something with HDFC last year, which was a Pixel product, which was for digital native. And if you think of this segment, right, there's a massive amount of overlap of people who are salaried and digital native coming from this demographic. when you think about farmers, right? Farmers have very specific use of credit, right? They want products that can help them finance their agriculture investments, whether it's buying seeds, buying fertilizers, and addressing those short-term credit needs. And there are products out there. It's it may not be very popular, but there are actually Kisan credit cards, not only by public sector banks, but also by private sector, which are catering to those needs. If we go to the MSME and space, here we are again thinking more from a B2B point of view, right? There's a massive need in terms of helping these MSMEs help their address their working capital requirements. And Visa, in partnership with banks, have innovated a lot in this space. So understanding the need is important, understanding your end customer is important, and then tweaking and tailoring your products to this segment will be the winning proposition.
How does India as a country overall, in terms of credit, compared to some of the other more developed economies like the United States, or some of the more, some of the comparable economies like South Africa?
So a very interesting data point that we have shared in our white paper is that, when it comes to credit in general, right, credit card is essentially the first product that is preferred. We have seen this play out in the most developed and developing economies. In the US, 59% of new credit products is credit card. In Hong Kong, this number is as high as 88%. And when we look for this information for India, we found that in India, the first credit product that is most popular is actually consumer durable credit. So in comparison, India still lags behind when it comes to, credit card being the spearhead in terms of getting people in the credit fold. But there's a massive, change happening there, right? A lot of banks, for example, have now launched secured credit cards, which means that somebody who is absolutely new to credit cards and does not have a credit history can now, through a fixed deposit and get a credit card, right? Mm-hmm. And build their credit history. Similarly, somebody who's had an adverse credit history, also can, use those means to, repair their credit history. There are a lot of, very small, no frills cards available now in the market, where if somebody, who is a first jobber just wants a credit card to, to understand how credit works, is now available, for them at a much easier way, right? And then they can build that credit history, which can then help them, servicing their other credit needs as they move along in life, whether it's a home loan or it's any business loan, car loan, and all of that, right? So India traditionally has lagged behind. And another data point I would say that within India also, right, if you look at the proportion of people who are eligible for formal credit in an urban setting versus in semi-urban setting, I think the difference is about 4x, right? 4x more people are eligible in the urban setting. So again, those are opportunities. Those are opportunities for our financial institutions to think innovatively about this segment. Use data in a better way to help underwrite some of these new to credit customers, but at the same time innovate in a way that the opportunity to get these customers into the credit card fold can be addressed.
As we sort of collect more data and as we sort of personalize these products, is what I was hearing you say. How do you see this pan out in the next 4 to 5 years? And what are the sort of products that you see will increasingly dominate the Indian market?
So looking back at the data, right, we are seeing very, very strong indicators of growth in this segment. So another data point I would like to mention is when we look at the semi-urban population, right, the growth in card payments overall has been around 175%, since 2019, right? And a large part of that growth has come from e-commerce. Now, this is a very, very important indicator of where we are headed, right? We have a very, very solid foundation in terms of digital payments, right? We have identified a fast emerging sector. In fact, if we look at within the categories of cities, the tier 3 plus cities, again, the increase in credit cards, active credit cards we have seen in our data has been almost close to 200%, as opposed to for category A cities, it is 47%, right? And a lot of this has been because of first growth in e-commerce, and second, access to card present transactions through low cost terminals that Visa, along with our partners, we have established. Right. So the foundations are very strong. The signs are very good. What it just takes for the industry to take note of how we can get more more innovative in terms of creating more personalized products and solution, right?
My final question as we wrap this up, and of course, this white paper was released today. So I think more and more people will have access to this white paper in the coming days. What is the one single sort of standout data that you were really not expecting and turned up on this?
I would go back to our key finding, right? When we looked at the cohort of people spending 2 lakhs a year on card, right? We know that affluence in India is increasing. We know that there are more category B and C plus cities now featuring in the list of new millionaires. There are a lot of reports being published, right? It was good to really affirm that the new India that is emerging, the new India that's emerging in a very, very strong way, is the one that is going to be the beacon of what we are doing in terms of innovation in payments, what we are doing in terms of innovation in payment security. Because mind you, it's very, very important to, when we think of growth, we have to keep payment security in mind. This is the same time period where there has been a lot of increase in cyber attacks. There have been increase in fraud and all these kind of situations which threaten to stifle the growth. But Visa, along with the regulators and our payment ecosystem partners, need to continue to be focused on creating those products and solutions that can help mitigate those risks while capturing the growth that presents itself in front of us. Just a last comment, affluence is now democratized, right? It is not a right of just urban customers. This is a new India, emerging India. And, when we create new things, new solutions, new products, we need to, think much bigger than what we are thinking today.